Hey guys, hope you're having a lovely weekend. So guys, excuse this crease shirt here. I literally was going to start this video with a different shirt on and I dropped coffee over that shirt and I literally just switched it over now, but this was ironed, but I kind of folded it up and enhanced the creases. So that's my excuse for these creases. Ignore that. So getting into the topic of this video. So I'm going to be discussing 3 different pots of money you should be setting aside. So this video is going to be great for those that are looking or considering putting money into savings account or thinking how they should be allocating money for the future. Also, bear in mind, guys, when you allocate money and you don't have a specific purpose for it, it kind of becomes redundant, because essentially if you have a purpose for where you're saving money, that will essentially make it easier for you in the future. And I don't want to discuss this much into details, but if you're not looking to kind of put money into a savings or considering or thinking about allocating your money into different kind of areas or different pots. By pots, I mean different types of accounts, investments, so forth, then this isn't going to be the video for you. But for those that are thinking, especially women, guys, you want to get more financially independent, you want to have a strong financial future, this is the video for you guys, women and guys, both, to be fair. Keep watching this video from the beginning to the end. I'm going to be discussing 3 allocated means or 3 areas you should start slotting your money into. So guys, without further ado, let's get into this video. Right guys, so before I get into this video, you know the formality. It will greatly help me if you have not already subscribed to my channel. Hit the subscribe button. It takes a few seconds, but it greatly helps me out. On top of that, hit the like button if you enjoy this video and hit the notification bell so you do not miss any future videos. Now, I'm going to get into the topic of allocating your money into different funds. Essentially, the real reason behind this, if you haven't got any specific purpose in mind, when you allocate your money into different areas, the chances are you're not really going to save for anything in specific, example, an emergency, or you may be putting all your money into investments, but if an emergency comes up, that money is not spare. You've just put it in there to you're hoping for growth. It's not your purpose in mind to use that for an emergency. So that's kind of my rule or thinking process here. So as a general rule of thumb, when it comes to savings money or putting money into pots, I would say in terms of overall what you earn, put 20 to 30% of that money aside if possible. For majority, it may not be possible if you have only a few pounds left at the end of the month. So that's going to kind of be redundant. But of course, consider, for those that have only a few pounds left at the end of the month, consider passive income. And I have a few videos up discussing different methods of passive income, or essentially what passive income is if you don't already know. So do look into that to amplify your income so you can afford to put 20 to 30%, even more, into different pots for your future. So I'm going to get straight into pot number 1, and that is a pension. So women, I'm going to say first hand, because I'm a woman myself, it's important to start taking account of your future right now. Not in 5 years, not in 10 years, start right now. So you're kind of saving well ahead of time. I have had some people that are in their early 20s, 22, they have a work pension that's running, and if they have an option to opt out, they will opt out. And I've literally told them, do not do that, because the more you save in your pension at early age, it's going to be better for you, because essentially the pension age, specifically in the UK, it just keeps going up and up. So you don't want to be at the point where you're just getting older and older, and you have to wait till a later age to get your state pension, and you have nothing aside to retire early. This is the worst scenario you can essentially fall in. Like literally, that is kind of the worst thing I'm seeing. I've seen some people that either haven't saved their pension at all, and they're relying on the state pension, which can be anywhere between 500 to 700 to 800, a little bit more, a little bit less. You can't do nothing on that. With the economy, inflation hitting hard, you can't do nothing with that money. You're going to basically be needing assistance externally from organizations to just like have your energy, like in terms of electricity paid for, your heat. It's going to be hell. You don't want to be left in that scenario. Your mentality should be, if you possible, retire early, because you've done the hard work of saving that money early. And how can you save for the pension? So one, if you're already working with your company, look to have a pension with them, because they will obviously be contributing what you are, if not more. And two, there's an investment account you can open up, which is a SIP. And this will have some connection with quite a lot of connection with investments. So yes, your money be fluctuating up and down, but the purpose of that account is for retirement. So look at those two. If you're obviously, like I repeat that again, one, if you're with an employer, you are employed, the pension with your workplace. Two, if you don't have a workplace pension, then consider taking out a SIP, which you could get on Freetrade. If you haven't joined Freetrade, up at link below. Number three, if you're self-employed, again, a SIP, or consider a low interest savings account or a ISA. I think there's specific ones that essentially it locks your money, but then you get more interest long term. If you need more information regarding that, I could do a dedicated video for pensions. So that's number one. I would say that's crucial to have a pension pot for yourself for the future. And just to add, with these SIP accounts, you can profit in terms of increase your pension amount, but you can also drop, and it can reduce dramatically. So just do some research into it, because obviously I'm not a financial advisor. Do your own research and review everything very carefully. So let's move on to pot number two. So pot number two, guys, investments. Now, lots of people are scared to take investments, and I totally understand that. The inherent risk is you could put your money into this investment account and you could lose it in the morning, because you just don't know what could happen. So I understand that, but all the richest people in the world, they all have investments, and you already know Warren Buffett. There's loads of others that have a strong investment portfolio, and they recommend it for a reason, because you can make a lot of gains every year. So like say minimum of 8% every year, you can be making a profit. But of course that could all drop tomorrow depending on how the market's doing. But generally, if you plan carefully, if you allocate your money very carefully into investments, you should be fine. And it all comes to doing your research, right? That's the important factor, which company you are investing in. And I think that whatever you have set aside, even if you have 10, 20 pounds, just put it into your investment, because still adding that up every month, it equals to something a year. Some companies pay dividends, which is fantastic. So even if you put that in, yes, the dividend might be tiny, but still you're saving something into investment. So guys, do consider that. I think this is a very, very solid option. It's a pot that I would highly recommend long term. So your investments over 10 years could dramatically grow. And just to let you know, for those that are beginners, the suggestion I will make, if you're not familiar with investments and you don't really want to do research, which I do not recommend, do your research. I recommend you look into index funds. So example being the index fund, the S&P 500, which is essentially the top 500 companies in America So if you invest, say, £100, that will be distributed amongst this 500 companies. And this is what I would suggest for you, because it reduces your risk a little bit less, because your money is distributed among so many companies. If one company fails, it's not going to hit you as hard, because you have all these other companies that are supporting or standing up, or that are still supporting the funds that you have invested. So that's what I would suggest. Just type in Google, popular index funds. Lots of options will come up. That's what I would suggest you should look into. Right, guys, pot number 3. I would say this, alongside pot number 1, which was your pension, is mandatory pot. So pot number 3 essentially is your savings fund for any emergency or rainy day or holiday. Preferably, I'll just highlight this as an emergency pot, because essentially you need a pot for emergencies. And the reason for this is you could lose your job. You need 6 months of minimum 6 months of supplementary income to support you in case you lose your job. And that's why I say this specific pot here is equally important as the pension one. The investment pot, still, I would say there's a bit of leniency if you don't have enough money. Concentrate at least on your pension pot and your emergency pot, because this is going to be crucial. Essentially, with the emergency one, like I said, you lose your income, or emergency, your car breaks down. You need money to do the repair on your car. You need money in case any bills come up. This is vital. Investment one, but I would also want to say that that's very important as well, because that will essentially inherently allow for more growth of your money. But that's more of a discretionary option, because it depends on how much money you have currently. And that's why I'm expressing the importance of generating more passive income, so you do allow or have the possibility to have these 3 pots, which I personally class as all 3 of them as mandatory for your future, essentially, to secure a better future. And if you don't want to do an emergency fund, which I understand, like some people, they're just not really bothered, but this is what I'm against. I would say have an emergency fund, and if that never really gets used, you can use a little bit of that for your holiday. So it's not the case that, say you've built up £8,000 in savings and an emergency never comes, which is really unlikely. But if it's the case inherently you do have a large emergency pot, you could take a bit of money and use it towards other things like your holidays, any gifts. So you have to look at this with a bit of an open approach, especially this pot. But obviously, like I said, emergencies does happen. That's something beyond our control. So that's why this pot is equally important, if not more than the rest. So guys, let's brush this up. I've discussed these 3 pots: pension, investment, emergency pot, or that's open for interpretation in terms of what you want to use the 3rd pot for. So these are vital, and I think when I set this channel up, and especially my website, I set it up with the mind that I want to help women become more financially independent. And I've seen so many women that haven't worked and haven't got anything set up, let alone these 3 pots I've discussed, and which is a shame. This is something I would strongly recommend for you women, also men, but I've seen a lot of times where women just don't work. They are taking care of the family, the children at home. Entirely admirable. But at the same time, do think of your future, have something aside for yourself as well. So guys, I hope the discussion in terms of the 3 pots I would recommend was useful. I'm more than happy to explore these 3 pots in detail. I didn't want to go into too much of a lengthy video, because I know it gets boring, but I just wanted to primarily bring this to your attention. So some people just have savings account and that's it, and that's not what I would suggest nor recommend, just to cover your own back for the future. And can you hear that noise outside? Ignore that. So guys, I hope you have a lovely weekend ahead and you basically enjoy your day. I'm going to be going out soon because I want to get away from this noise that you can hear. So yeah, if you enjoyed this video, subscribe, like this video and hit the notification bell so you don't miss any videos. This noise is only getting louder. I'm going to sign out, guys. Enjoy your day. Take care. Bye.